So, this machine is basically the oldest that I have in my collection. And if anyone can actually tell me, or knows if it's even possible to serial date these, there's the serial number and the model number. And you can tell just how old this machine is by the fact that it says made in the USA from US and Japanese components instead of the typical made in China or Mexico. And I think it's mainly China with Panasonic anymore. But basic story behind this machine is this came in to my work, and this is one of, Panasonic doesn't really use this anymore. It used to have these little, they're just very odd little tabs, clips almost, from what we can tell, that held the brush roll, or the brush plate, bottom plate in once upon a time. And so the owner brought it in because they fell off or got lost, broke off, whatever, and the base plate would not stay in anymore. We couldn't get the parts, and we didn't have a machine to salvage those parts from. The only other one of these that we actually had was missing them too. So we basically told her the only thing that we can do is either just drill screws in, because there's actually a place to do that from the ones that would have had screws instead of that quick release on these models. It's into the mold. And either that or we could get her a trade-in towards a new machine. And she loved this machine, but she didn't want us to drill it in and didn't want to have to, you know, deal with screwing and unscrewing those. So she just traded it in, bought a new machine, and this one came home with me. Now, it's a little bit dirty from where it's been sitting in my house, but other than the occasional scrape here and there, which I don't even know if it's going to show up all that well on the video, this thing is in really, really good condition for its age. This woman always used genuine Panasonic bags in it, so we really didn't have to do much of any cleaning. Well, I should rephrase that. I didn't have to do much of any cleaning when we got this in, because it was basically perfect. I've got a Cirrus HEPA bag in there now because those Cirrus bags will fit just about any Panasonic or anything that uses a Panasonic belt of this Jet-Flo clean air knockoff style, and they're brilliant bags. So I gladly brought this home. It was on its original brush roll, which is still in there. Lubed it up, it's all good to go. Original hoses and everything. And, I mean, even what I believe to be the original cord. Now, only thing with it is just its hideous shade of pink, but its performance and how quiet it is more than make up for that. So I'm gonna flip it on and And I just cannot get over how amazing this machine is. It works perfectly. There's nothing really wrong with it. The motor doesn't sound bad, which I guess is a testament to how well Panasonic's genuine bags are constructed too, because they're about the only things I've found that don't let dust through as a paper bag. I've been very, very impressed with how this performs too. I find it funny because it doesn't have a lot of power behind it. I think this is only... Yeah, so this has a 6-point, if it ever focuses. There we go. 6.7 amp clean air motor. And it's got not all that much suction, but quite a lot of airflow. And it's just, I don't know, it's a charming machine. It won me over when it came in the shop, so I took it home with me. And what I've been most impressed with is we've got carpeting back in our one hallway, and not that many machines can really lift the pile of that carpeting all that well. The way it's set, you can't really vacuum against the pile to actually pull it up. You would have to vacuum side to side across the hallway, and there's not really enough room to do that. But this machine pulls up the pile very well, despite having a very soft brush roll and, again, not all that much suction, but a lot of airflow, which you can hear rushing through the whole machine whenever it's turned on. So I'm actually going to take this back to that hallway and show you exactly what I'm talking about. Now, I have no idea how well this is going to show up on the camera because the lighting is pretty poor back here. You can see the pile's already been lifted a bit from where my Nito came in earlier in the morning. But we'll see what this can do, and at least we'll have the headlight to give us a bit more illumination. Thankfully. Now, I don't know, I know you can see it on the camera, I can see it on the camera. I don't know how well the level of it is going to come through, but what I can say is, out of every single machine I've ever had in this house, be it F&G machines or the Avalier or even the compressor that I did the video on earlier, as well as that Cleans, none of them have ever been able to lift the pile as much as this has. Nothing has. So when I first brought this in to the house and took it on this carpet, I was absolutely amazed with what it could do, because it didn't really look all that impressive on the other carpets. There are other vacuums that groom the rest of the carpets in the house better than this does, but for some reason the brush in this and its airflow and this blue carpet get along very nicely, because this is the best it's looked in years, honestly. There's not really much life left in this carpet anyway. There hasn't been for a long time, but it does a remarkable job on it. And the other thing that I have been amazed by is the fact that if you've ever owned a Panasonic product, be it one of the Kenmore canisters that's built by them or anything like that, Panasonics always have this just certain smell to them. This is, you know, I think this is probably like a 30-year-old machine, correct me if I'm wrong, but it still smells exactly that way. You turn it on, it didn't even, when it had the old owner's bag in it, and their dirt, we turned it on, it just smelled like a new Panasonic. It didn't smell dirty, it didn't smell musty, it just smells like a new out-of-the-box Panasonic still when it's running, which is pretty damn impressive. I'm very sad to see them leave the market, but I guess time goes on and we have yet another defunct vacuum brand.